I have a slight process question. So our project and the ports project required a capability plan. And so I wanted to go to the capability plan quick and then go over Lake Oswego and detail follow up with the ports. So I might go for it. Okay.
Yeah, we're doing well on time, so don't worry about that.
Yes, yeah. All right, so the PDCC Enhancement of Backup Operations Capability Plan is kind of the lead on to two project proposals that will follow. So first of all, I want to talk just a little bit about what the plan is going to address. And I'm going to give you a little background and then move forward with the project description. So we're wanting to enhance our backup operations for our public safety answering points. And we're looking obviously at protection, resilience, response, recovery capabilities, and meeting the goal of building and maintaining regional response capabilities necessary to save lives and meet basic human needs. And communications is definitely critical to that piece, and that's where we feel like the PSAP enhancement of the backup communications capabilities touches on that. So PDCC, just in case, and review everybody, because I know there's lots of changes here, who all that involves: City of Portland, Bureau of Emergency Communications, the Port of Portland, CRESA in Clark County, WACA in Washington County, Clackamas County CCOM, Clackamas County LOCOM, and Columbia 911 Service District. So basically what we're trying to do is enhance the system components that are used in a PSAP. So basically in a PSAP, public safety answering point, you need telephony, you need the infrastructure to answer the calls, you need the computer-aided dispatch system that allows them to enter the data and get the data out to the field units and the responders. It uses a lot of GIS information, a lot of tables, code files built in. And then the radio system connectivity, the radio console positions actually allow the dispatchers to have real-time contact with field responders. So those are like the three system components, and the 911 centers basically focus on kind of two main processes. One is answering those calls and entering that, and the second is dispatching that information out to field units. So there's a kind of a call-taking element, and there's also a dispatching element. And then on the backup side of things, there's basically three levels of backup in lots of these kinds of systems. But in 911 systems, we have cold backups, warm backups, and hot backups. Obviously, hot backup is the best and most efficient, has the least amount of downtime. It basically is saying you have a live system here and a live system there, and you're switching between them, and you have very little process involved in that. It happens almost instantaneously because you have all the infrastructure in place. And then you have a warm, which is kind of in between that, where you probably have things in place, but you're still going to take a little bit of intervention to get that up and running. And then a cold, which is definitely just an off-site location usually, and it needs a lot of help to get it up and running. You're talking more in the hours and days for a cold, and hours for the warm, and generally minutes to hours for the hot. So the proposals that are going to follow today's capability are about hot backup, hot workstations that you can quickly get to and start working right away. So basically, the elements that are needed in order to do a hot backup in this plan is we're looking for critical facilities that are Category 4 rated. So people that are either at that kind of facility today or are upgrading to that kind of facility. And both the projects in this are new builds to that category of facility. And then we're providing workstations that are going to either enhance that call-taking portion, or going to enhance the dispatching portion, or going to enhance both. And also provide a geodiverse location overall for the 911 answering to be in different locations within the region. And this is all possible because of all the work that's been done in the background, the CAD projects, the Magix projects, the CAD-to-CAD project, radio infrastructure that's at a set standard, a P25 standard, allows us to communicate various systems together. The telephone systems we use, almost all are of the same interface, so when a dispatcher sits down in Lake Oswego, they're pretty much looking at the same thing that they're looking at in like Washington County or in Portland. And then also that the dispatchers are all trained to a standard. So that's what helps all this work. And then a regional benefit of the enhancement capability, I just kind of wanted to give an example. I'll use Clackamas County for example. Most of our evacuations and our needs are because there's an environmental issue within the dispatch center. Generally speaking, our equipment, because we've got redundant links and all sorts of plans that way, the equipment tends to still be running, but you can't keep people there because there's some environmental issue, smoke, whatever, the buildings, so there's some kind of threat to the environment in the building. So, for example, when Clackamas County has had this happen and we have an agreement in place, they've evacuated all their services to Lake Oswego. So the regional benefit is that Clackamas County can come to Lake Oswego and do their operations. But as we build this project out, it's going to be even more inclusive of that, so we can start parsing out people that have very big operations, like Clackamas, City of Portland, Washington County, where they might need to relocate different services to different PSAPs, and they're really looking for workstations that they can work at. And so in that same example, if it was going to be a long-term evacuation, Clackamas County might send a group of people to Lake Oswego to perform one function, and then it might send a group of people to Washington County perhaps to do another function, or even to Portland to do another function. Same is true, the same scenario could play out for Portland, where the facility is untenable. They send people over to the port to do a certain function, and then they might send people to Clackamas County to do a certain function, or Washington County to do a certain function. So overall, it's increasing those workstations available for people to sit out and take 911 calls and do the data processing and get calls out. And then future capabilities, basically as we are going through our processes, getting our facilities up to that category 4 mission critical, we're going to start looking at where is their capacity, where might we be able to add some workstations, and what makes sense, and then get buy-in and ownership from the PSAPs involved that they're able to do that. And finally, intergovernmental agreements. Clackamas County and Lake Oswego have one. Other people have looked at them. We all have our COOP plans that have some way of navigating through a disaster and an evacuation scenario. And ultimately, we'd like to roll into a shared worker agreement where if Washington County's folks can't get to Washington County in their new facility, then perhaps they can come to Lake Oswego and work there in a minute. So that's kind of on the capability plan side. So really quick, the specific asks of the Lake Oswego Clackamas backup arrangement. We started our agreement way back in 1992, long before things evolved to where they're at today, which is a simple 911 phone switch. There's a toggle switch in the back room at one place, takes 911 calls, toggle switch takes the other. We built that out to making it a full CAD commitment, radio system commitment where we can dispatch from either place, and we did that in 2008. We definitely exercise it and drill it and have used it since its inception in 2008. Both ways, Clackamas to Lake Oswego and Lake Oswego to Clackamas. So Lake Oswego is in the process of building a new city hall. It's going to be a critical facility built to the category 4 standard. And so in that process, we developed a little bit more room, and so we wanted to add additional workstations because we know that our current backup agreement has Lake Oswego having 2 workstations, Clackamas County having 4 in our facility, and that Clackamas County is big enough now that that's just not a good option for them. They need more space when they come over. So we want to make it so they could have 6 positions when they come over, and we would knock down to 2. And then within that, the city has agreed to do the furniture. They've agreed to do kind of the networking kinds of stuff necessary. Look at it. Washington County easily could come to Lake Oswego. They have all the same functionality, Magic's partner, same radio system, same thing. So they could use our workstations. Columbia County could use our workstations. Even Portland could use workstations for a different variety of issues.
Leslie, why don't we see if there are any questions?
Sure.
I think you might have spoken to this already, but just the cost difference between this and the ports, 2 dispatch consoles, is that just due to different needs?
Different needs, different systems, and ours is, the Lake Oswego project is pretty specific to just that CAD equipment and just that phone equipment. We don't do a lot else, the networking, all the other stuff that our folks are going to do. So, and the one last little thing was the concept in a shared worker agreement that if you can't get to your home PSAP, that you could get to the closest PSAP, and I think regionally everybody has an interest in that. So. What's that?
That's a good piece.
We like that.
Yeah, we like that.
Anything else?
Then we're going to switch over to you guys for the ports, 911 backup. Thank you.